Certainly the headline is horrific, and I think for investors, this should give them pause when you see this type of risk associated with a company. With that said, Boeing remains the crown jewel of U.S. manufacturing, and it's also the crown jewel of U.S. exporting. This is our #1 exporter, but it's also a major defense contractor. So when you have that many issues affecting a company amidst a significant trade war with China and this trade dispute that's going on, Boeing becomes a pawn in that game. They're an easy target for any kind of retaliation that might come up because now you have an excuse to take it out on an iconic U.S. brand. So for the 150,000 Boeing employees, again, they become concerned. And I think you make a great point. This plane is critical to Boeing's future. It's 40% of profits. It's 2/3 of future deliveries. And that backlog could go out the window very quickly if the headlines become worse and more of a concern. Well, we know there's more information to come, and I think everybody is going to be data dependent, seeing what those facts suggest, whether it's going to be pilot error or whether it's going to be a manufacturing concern. And again, this plane is so critical to the future of Boeing because this is where the growth is coming from. This is where they're targeting emerging markets. So when you see the headlines coming in, they're coming in from emerging markets. That's where the growth is. This plane was targeted towards those fast-growing countries. Ethiopia is one, but many, many others. So I think for Boeing, this stock has been a total monster. It's been up 30% a year for 5 and 10 years. And gravity can catch up with you. When you're the largest contributor to the Dow performance, you can become the largest detractor very quickly. So I think investors, we're going to be watching this data, but recognizing this may not change the fact that Boeing is our greatest exporter, but it may give us pause in the Boeing rally. It's interesting we talk about trade issues and the fact that this could be a real victim in the trade war. It could also be a major beneficiary in the trade war. And assuming trade resolutions happen and we make a deal with China and the world free trade is embraced globally and we have a global recovery, emerging markets are recovering this year. So this is a huge beneficiary of emerging markets. So I think it's a company we want to own, we want to be cautious, and a pullback is a place we want to look at this stock for long-term investors. If you're very, very patient, there are a few companies so unmatched on the global scene with such dominance in such high-skilled areas that really represent America. You can't wave a flag any broader than Boeing overseas. You. Again, this is not Boeing's first rodeo. They've been through trade disputes before, and they've also been through headline risk. They had the Dreamliner a few years ago, had some real concerns. So they have been through this. I think they're very skilled at navigating public relations. You'll hear the company's going to be very, very systematic in terms of how they handle this, looking at the data. We're hopeful that it's an isolated incident, that safety remains the paramount concern. With trade concerns, it's going to weigh on the stock because it is such an easy target. So I think we all want to see free trade. We want to see those markets open. We want to see the world embrace American products. This will be the beneficiary of that, but it may take some time for this headline risk to clear. So I think we want to look at opportunities to accumulate the company, assuming it remains the type of iconic long-term brand that it is today.
Larry, always good to see you. Thanks for coming on today. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Larry
Thank
Glazer.
you.